Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Gay Gerard, and I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have an incredible guest here. Her name is Selina Swadling, and she's the founder of Supercells, an incredible nutritional company on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia here. And she's paving the way for human health and performance with her incredible line of unique supplements. Thank you so much for joining us today, Selina. It's great to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's wind it back. I would love to hear your story. You had a very successful career in marketing and media for a number of years, and now you've founded this incredible company, Supercells. Can you tell us a little bit about it and what led you to where you are now?
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell, there's one word that I could sum up. If I could sum up with one word, it would be burnout.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone that's been in corporate knows that, they pay you the big bucks, but you also have to sell your soul and basically just work your absolute butt off. And for me, because I was in the media, industry, and it was very much about working hard and playing just as hard. So I was essentially burning the candle at both ends. And ultimately that led to adrenal fatigue. So it's funny how the universe gives you what you need to direct you onto a new path. And I didn't actually realize how unhappy I was until I started getting chronically sick all the time. So I had like debilitating tonsillitis that would just come around every 6 weeks, like clockwork. I had like flare-ups in my body, adrenal fatigue, which I think could have led to chronic fatigue if it had gone unattended to. And one day I just thought, oh my gosh, I've just had enough. And I was speaking to someone, this is years ago, this is about, must be about 7 years ago now that we're talking about. And this guy said to me, have you heard of molecular hydrogen? And I said, hydrogen, like as in the bomb, hydrogen bomb. I go, what do you mean? He goes, no, it's hydrogen. You take it like it's a supplement. I said, oh, and he goes, you can't buy it here in Australia, so I'll get it for you from the US. So it was quite a process back then. You had to fill up a 1 litre water bottle right to the top, put a tablet in, which was effervescent, put the lid on and sit it there for half an hour for the hydrogen to reach a concentration point where it was therapeutic, right, which was about 1 part per million. Anyway, it was arduous, but I thought I'm willing to try anything. Seriously, within 1 week, I just completely turned around. I had natural energy again. I was sleeping because I had insomnia. You have so much on your mind. I couldn't sleep. Yeah, like my heart rate went down. Every single thing. It was just unbelievable. And I rang him up and I said, where do I get these in Australia? And he said, oh, no, they're not available. And I said, all right. And I started to do some investigation into it. And at that point, I quit my career and I thought I'm going to study at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and maybe become a health coach or something. But it was more about, I've always had it's funny because I went down such a path of like doing everything wrong to my body and my mind and my spirit. And then I've always been interested in health and nutrition and well-being and spirituality, but I just completely ignored that. And it was just fighting to come out. My true inner being was just fighting to come out. So sickness is what made me recognize that, as with so many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so what happened at the end of the day was, I started my course, but then I decided I'm going to look into bringing hydrogen into Australia. And I started studying the cell and what the cell needs, and basically found these products that I'll speak to you about that gives the cell exactly what it needs to thrive. Because to have healthy cells, we remove what's harming them and we put in what benefits them. And that's how you have healthy cells, and that's how you can repair your cells. It's very simple. Cells want to live a healthy life just like we want to, right? They're like little people. So once you understand the simplicity of how to look after your cells, as in cellular health, then, health just comes. It just follows.
Amazing. And I read that the Japanese were leading the way originally with the studies and the research. In 2007, they published a case study and using it for therapeutic use, for helping people relieve chronic pain and neuropathic disorders, mental disorders, and Alzheimer's and cognitive function disorders as well. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. There was a study in 2007 in Nature Medicine magazine, and that's quite, it's taken seriously, that mag. And no one had really heard of molecular hydrogen before, H2. And there was a study that came out that showed a couple of different things that really piqued the interest of the scientific community, because, here's this novel antioxidant, we can call it, because it acts like an antioxidant that's just new and just being discovered, and it's doing all these things. So basically, if I can sum up what hydrogen does, molecular hydrogen is just two hydrogen atoms together. So H and H is H2. Okay, so that's where we get the H2 from. So it's like it has, to me, I always explain it like it has an intelligence behind it. So hydrogen is basically the most abundant element in the universe. So it's number one on the periodic table. It's so small, it passes through everything, way smaller than the oxygen molecule or anything like that. And it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in everything. Okay. And what science has done is it's found a way to help it repair the body. So it can go into your body and it can detect what cell is operating efficiently and what cell is sick. And then it will pass through the cell wall and go into the cell. And what it will do is it will attach to it's called the hydroxyl radical, right? Which is the free radical that's responsible for aging, disease, inflammation, everything. And it binds to it and it turns it into water. So it just leaves your body.
Fascinating.
Right? But it leaves the other reactive oxygen species alone to do their job in the body. So it's not targeting all free radicals. It's just targeting the ones that are harmful.
Right. That's amazing.
So that is I'll leave you alone. You're doing a good job.
Right.
No, you're not right. I'm getting rid of you. Right.
That's incredible.
So all of a sudden, what's happening, because oxidative stress is what causes inflammation and disease, right? So the basis to everything, every single ailment is inflammation. That's it.
Yes.
If you can get your inflammation under control, you will be healthy.
That's incredible.
That's the bottom line.
Amazing.
So the hydrogen, the other way, just in layman's terms that I like to explain it, is, okay, just say you hurt your thumb, right? And you have a inflammation response. So it's aching, like it's throbbing, it's red. So everything's going to that spot to heal it, right? Now, if that didn't stop aching and throbbing, that would be chronic inflammation, right? Which is what we see with people with back pain and things like that, chronically inflamed. So what that actually is it's called a cytokine storm, okay? So cytokines are your inflammation response, and when they're out of control, they're called cytokine storms. So what hydrogen is, it's like a fireman that goes out with his hose and just puts water on the out of control cytokine storm and brings it back just to a little simmer. So it's a healthy inflammation response, right? So it's going from out here, bringing it back to something manageable, because we do need this response in the body. It's healthy to have this response. But when it's out of control, that's where the problems start.
Okay. And so does our body naturally produce hydrogen on its own, or is it something that we need to ingest through fruits and vegetables and foods?
Well, yeah, good question. So, yeah, you can get it in really small amounts. You can find it it's not a therapeutic dose though, what you're getting, right? So you can find it in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, root vegetables like potato, sweet potato and carrot, nuts and seeds. So chia seeds are good. Also, fermented foods as well, like sauerkraut and things like that. But you'd have to eat a lot of them, okay? Because hydrogen in that capacity is actually produced by fiber and carbohydrates in the gut. So it's sort of, because don't forget, H2 is a gas. So your body's, it's hard for your body to produce a lot of gas, So supplementing with hydrogen is the way to get all of these therapeutic benefits without having to like overeat, or you probably couldn't even get to those levels, to be honest.
Right.
And going back to, going back to that, like the bottle where I had to fill it up or whatever. Yes. So my tablets now, so to fill it up for 1 part per million hydrogen would take half an hour. Now I can just put a hydrogen tablet into a glass of water, and within 1 minute it's produced like 12 to 14 parts per million.
That's massive.
Yeah. Right? So that's 1 part is therapeutic.
Right.
1 part per million.
Right.
And with these tablets, you're getting like 12 to 14 parts per million. Yeah. So you're just like,
how quickly does it take to work and to see benefits, and what would the benefits be?
Okay. So as you know, we're all unique and we all have our own issues and makeup and whatever. But the one thing that hydrogen does for everyone is it passes through the cell wall, as I mentioned, and it passes through the blood-brain barrier. Okay. So hardly anything can do that. But hydrogen's so small that it can actually do that. So when I talk about benefits per se, I usually like to take it on a case-by-case basis. So we've all got, this is homeostasis, right? So this is your health baseline. So just say you're healthy at that level. A lot of people will be way below that, okay? What the hydrogen can do, just purely from getting rid of those toxic free radicals that it gets rid of, cleaning up the cell, it actually helps the mitochondria to work better and to produce mitochondria, which is the energy center of the cell as well. That's basically cleaning up your body. You might take it and literally within 5 minutes, your health baseline has gone from way below to equilibrium, to homeostasis, right? Now, for someone that's not well, you're only up to normal. You're not even excelling, right? And they are feeling amazing just off one serve of hydrogen, because it's just taken them from the low baseline that they're operating at and taken them up to that just normal baseline where we all should be. Okay, obviously we all want to exceed that baseline, but it's not possible for a lot of people because they've got those chronic issues. So yeah, and other people that are really looking after themselves, that are healthy, that are fit, whatever, they might just find that their focus is better, that they don't need coffee anymore. Like I'm off coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore.
Neither do I. Yeah.
I have hydrogen, and I was addicted to coffee for a long time. And being half Italian,
yes,
you know, so yeah, so that just gives me that natural energy. And as I said about the mitochondria, because you know, caffeine and other stimulants are like a credit card. There is payback for that. So I'm getting something artificial and my body has to pay it back in some capacity, right? With hydrogen, you're generating the energy yourself. And if you can't figure out how that happens, look at the sun. The sun is 72% hydrogen. Look at the energy and the power behind the sun. You have little suns in your body. Right. That are creating all that beautiful energy for you to use without any side effect, without any payback.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's the thing that people feel the most. And also they sleep better. That's the number one thing I hear.
Okay.
Yeah. And people go, hang on a minute, but how do they sleep better and have more energy? Well, we're not talking about stimulant energy. We're talking about natural energy when you need it, when the sun's out, right? Falling into line with your natural circadian rhythm. And then the magnesium, because it's got 80 milligrams of magnesium in every serve. And if you're taking 2 tablets a day, that's 160. That is helping you sleep as well.
Okay, amazing. Whereabouts is it stored in the body? And like if you take the tablets in water, how long does that last?
So I've got 2. I've got raspberry flavor, which is my favorite.
Okay.
You can see that? Yeah. And I've got super strength, which is unflavored.
Okay, great.
They're both the same strength though.
Okay.
So the only difference is that has natural raspberry flavor and that's unflavored, which is like a lemony aspirin.
Okay.
It tastes like it's not foul, but I do like the raspberry.
Okay,
I'll be honest. So I'm just going to pop that in.
Okay, yep.
So can you see that?
Yes, I can. Yep. Yeah,
so
we can see the bubbles starting to create at the top.
So they are That's trillions and trillions of bubbles of hydrogen gas. But when you drink it, it's not gassy. So it's not like CO2, it's
Okay.
flat. So the
Okay.
hydrogen stays in solution. It stays in the water. It doesn't bubble up like a Barocca. You know, when you see a
Yes.
Barocca with
Yeah.
all the, it
Yes.
just stays in there. So
Right.
actually the water is hydrogen rich water. So
Amazing.
you're enhancing your water now. So you've gone from normal, well, hopefully filtered, pure or spring water to hydrogen rich water. Okay. So you're adding, and you can't just drink more water to get the hydrogen, more normal water, you know, H2O.
Right.
That's a question I get all the time because that's bound together. That's its own molecule.
Right.
So that you can't just drink more water. You're just getting more H2O. You're not getting more H2. It's
Right.
like saying, I'm going to drink more water so I can breathe more oxygen. Doesn't work, right? Yeah.
So how many do you need to have a day? Is it something that you need to have 1 tablet a day or 2 tablets a day to get the, I mean, does the effects, I guess, the side effects or the feeling of vibrancy and feeling good and elevated, how long does that last? So if you were to have 1 drink with a tablet in the morning, do you have to take a second drink or is it just the 1 for the day? And how safe is it to take, you know, on a regular basis? So every day.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say is there's no upper limit to consumption, which means that you could take all of these tablets at once and you would probably get diarrhea from the magnesium. But all the studies show that you can't OD on molecular hydrogen. So it's completely safe, okay? Because guess what? It's a gas and you just breathe out what you don't need, okay? Now, I've had people taking 6 tablets a day and I'm like, your body's probably you're just breathing that out, you know, like you're actually just wasting your money. So what I would recommend, so that's already gone. I'll just show you, that's already gone. So, and it just tastes beautiful. I would have a tablet. It's always got to be on an empty stomach. Then you can just eat like 5 minutes later, whatever. And yeah, I would say when you first start taking it to have 2 a day. Some people just like to have 2 all the time, which is maybe another one before dinner or late arvo, or when you crash in the afternoon around 3 o'clock and you just need a little bit of a pick me up. And that's purely to get on top of just all the years of free radical damage that are just sitting there waiting to be cleared out by this absolutely amazing molecule.
Right.
So you've just got all of that there just waiting, and every day more and more goes onto it. So it just accumulates.
That's great. And so how is it treating mental disorders?
It's all coming back to inflammation.
Okay.
So inflammation and just free radical damage, oxidative stress, basically, is the foundation for chronic pain and depression, anxiety, and everything like that. So once you actually attack it at the root, then you can see the benefits. And I have my son's ASD, ADHD, and he thrives on the hydrogen. You know, my children are never sick. Like they're just healthy. They've been on it for years. They only think it works if they're starting to get sick. So they say, oh, I'm feeling a bit ill. And then I give them like my products. And then they say, oh, it only works when you feel sick. But I'm like, but you never get sick because you take it.
Right. So would it work in circumstances like if you've got to take a long international flight, a 14-hour flight, would it help you recover faster? Or if you're an athlete, I know the Japanese are using it and testing the performance of the athletes to recover quicker and boosting their VO2 max or the ability to, you know, take in more oxygen and perform better for endurance. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I'll answer the first bit first. So another thing that the hydrogen does is it protects against radiation. Okay, so there's been a lot of videos and studies, especially coming out of Japan, where people are having radiation therapy and they've loaded with the hydrogen before, and you can see that the cells are being protected that don't need to be. It's incredible watching it, like just seeing like a nuclear bomb go off in one without any hydrogen and then all protected in green. Like it's just incredible. And I've had a lot of people that have been taking the products when they're going through some sort of treatment like that, and it's just negated or reduced significantly the side effect from the treatment. It's incredible. Yeah, so when you're flying internationally, you're exposed to more radiation, so it's really good to have the hydrogen when you're on a plane every like 4 hours or something like that. And then, of course, the Japanese, they want to be at the forefront of everything,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
health, beauty, technology, athletes, etc. And there was a study a few years ago that showed that 50% of all adults in Japan have had hydrogen therapy in some capacity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's that
So whether
mainstream now.
it's that mainstream. Yeah,
Wow.
they have it in hospitals, they have it everywhere. So yeah, the athletes use it because it actually reduces lactic acid. So this isn't just for athletes. This is just for anyone working out, going to the gym,
That's brilliant.
anything like doing sport. You'll just find that you don't get DOMS as much, delayed onset muscle soreness, and you can just recover so much better. So for athletes, it's incredible because they want to get, you know, just that 1% more. So if they can recover quicker and then get back to doing their training, well, they're going to have the upper hand, right? So hydrogen just helps so much with that. Yeah. And I had Tia Claire Toomey, who is the fittest woman on earth. She's living in America, I think, now, but she was taking my products for quite some time, and she was taking them when she won the gold medal in the Commonwealth Games for weightlifting.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah. So she was a good advocate as well.
That's incredible. Can we be deficient in hydrogen in terms of our own body source?
Look, I know I'm hesitant to say deficient in hydrogen,
right?
But what I will say is if you have chronic pain, if you're tired all the time, if you've got like cognitively, you're like depreciating every single year in you know how you're reacting to things, or your memory or stuff like that, I would say that you definitely need some sort of supplementation with this that's going to help you, because it's once again, it's coming back to the inflammation and the free radical damage. So, and because it goes through the blood-brain barrier, you've got the ability to actually help with, you know, neurological disorders, you know. That's so there's lots of studies about Parkinson's and like to do with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things like that, especially, that are all coming out, just showing its effect. Yeah.
I find it fascinating because, I mean, after COVID, we all know the world changed quite drastically, and so many people suffered from mental health issues as a result of COVID and all the stress and the anxiety. Wouldn't it be far safer for them to be taking something with no side effects, like your supplement with hydrogen in it, as opposed to a lot of the mental health prescriptions that are provided?
Well, yeah, you probably don't want to get me started on this because I think that sometimes, you know, certain parties want to keep us sick. Right. And there's a lot of money in being unhealthy. Absolutely. There is a lot of money in keeping people not well. Right. So, you know, I think a lot of the responses about COVID weren't particularly on point. But yeah, you know, I would suggest, like, it's quite possible that maybe a natural alternative may be better, especially long term, just to see. And the other thing about hydrogen is if you are on medication, it will actually enhance the effects of that medication. So it makes the medication more efficient in your body. So I've had people on ADHD medication that have actually had to go down on their dosage because it's too much for them now, because the hydrogen is getting it into the cells, it's getting it into past the blood-brain barrier, it's, you know, it's making it more efficient in the body. So a lot of people have to reduce their inflammation when they go on, reduce their medication when they go on hydrogen.
That's incredible. And you've got another couple of ingredients in your, other than magnesium, you've got trace minerals. Can you talk a little about why you've included that?
I have 3 main products.
Right.
So I've got the hydrogen. So my philosophy is the hydrogen comes from the sun.
Okay.
Then we have fulvic minerals from the earth, and then we have oxygen around us, right? So, and we're deficient in all of them. Okay. So obviously, and this is the minerals. So can you see that?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a black liquid. It's organic, cold pressed, straight from the earth. It's from rare mineral beds in America. Yeah, basically the soil now has been completely depleted of most of the nutrients. It's been over-farmed, pesticides, like all of that. Yeah, no biodiversity. So everything's just planted in together now. And, you know, it's it's never rested. Like it's just lost everything.
Definitely.
So unfortunately, if the soil doesn't have the nutrients, the plants don't have the nutrients. And then we eat the plants, we don't get the nutrients.
Right.
And the thing about minerals and, you know, elements is your body can't produce them. You have to seek them externally.
Right.
So one of the most chronic things on this planet is mineral deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So many things can come back to being mineral deficient. Even if you're deficient in one mineral, it's going to cause havoc in your body, even one. So this product here, and I'll just show you what it's like. You just need 1 ml a day, just 1 ml, right? It's so potent. So,
wow.
See that?
Yes.
It's got no taste. Just tastes like water. And it has 77 trace minerals, elements, and all the amino acids.
Oh, wow.
In that 1 ml.
Brilliant.
In that 1 ml. It is absolutely fantastic. I even put it in my skincare now. So when I put one drop into my moisturizer, and my skin is so much better for it. It's incredible.
Amazing.
Like when you put vitamins into your skin, it's incredible. So yeah, so that's from the earth. That's Mother Nature's gift to us. And then we have the oxygen, which is this bottle, which is basically bioavailable oxygen that you just drink and it goes straight into the bloodstream. Okay, so straight away it's available for use. So this is for people that need quick energy, stamina, focus. I take it before I go to the gym. It's like doing a breathwork session without doing a breathwork session.
Right.
So if you're not dedicated to Wim Hof or doing any of that, this is the cheat way to get the same thing.
Right.
In terms of benefit, in terms of like completely, just giving your body an influx of oxygen that's just ready to be used. So when you've got oxygen, a lot of oxygen in your body, first of all, it moves fat cells, right? It helps your productivity because you're clearer in your mind. The other thing is Dr. Otto Warburg in, I think, 1948 or something, I can't remember the year, but he won a Nobel Peace Prize because he proved that when a cell loses 35% oxygen, that's when it turns into a cancerous cell.
Right.
So if you keep your cells oxygenated, so this is like science here. You keep your cells oxygenated, then the probability is they won't turn cancerous, whereas they might have if they've been depleted.
Yeah.
And of course, we lose oxygen as we get older as well. So we lose 1% a year after the age of 30.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
So by the time you're 65, right, you've lost 35%. When do people start getting cancer?
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
Right? Yeah.
What about if someone was doing a water fast or a juice cleanse or something like that? Could taking the hydrogen actually accelerate the benefits and the results?
Yeah, I get a lot of people that are doing fasting, but it reduces hunger and it won't break the fast either, which is really important. Right. So, because, most things that have any caloric content in them at all will break a fast, but hydrogen doesn't. And yes, people have been known to go longer because of the hydrogen.
That's incredible. So what about the gut microbiome in terms of the absorbing the hydrogen in the body? If they've got digestive issues, are they still able to absorb as much? Will it still be as effective?
Well, the minerals are what fixes digestive issues and gut issues.
Okay.
I cannot tell you how unbelievable fulvic acid is. Like if you have not looked into it, you really need to.
Yes.
It is. I love all my products and I will always take them. But truly, if I had a favorite, it would have to be this fulvic acid. And I'll tell you why. Not only are you getting the nutrients from the fulvic acid itself, what it does is it has the ability to piggyback other things that can't get into the cell. So it can piggyback other supplements. It can piggyback all the foods and drinks that you're eating, all the nutrients from that. It breaks them down and carries them into the cell. It's a transporter. Right? So if you take a vitamin C, a lot of people don't know, your cell's not getting that.
Right.
It's too big. It's not going into the cell.
Right.
The vitamin C molecule is way too big to pass into the cell, right? Which is why when like we take some supplements, your urine's yellow because it's just going straight through you. It's not bioavailable, like you can't absorb it. What the fulvic does is it makes pretty much everything bioavailable. So anything that you're doing in your life to help your health is helped immensely by that.
Okay. And so how does taking the hydrogen impact longevity?
Oh, that's a really good question. There's so many studies on that, but one of the main ones that's really sciencey is, telomeres.
Yes.
Telomeres at the end of the chromosomes. Hydrogen elongates the telomeres.
Right.
So basically, as your telomeres get shorter, that's what causes aging. Mm-hmm. And hydrogen actually keeps them long or just helps them, like either keeps them long or helps them grow. Right. So, yeah, and that is directly linked to aging.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is. I've seen videos on Japanese scientists that are like 78, I think he was, or something like that. He honestly looks about 40, this guy. Amazing. He's just been taking hydrogen, for ages. And yeah.
I saw in Japan that they've got dedicated spas now set up to doing special treatments with the hydrogen using like a foam for an entire body, almost like like you would have a body wrap or a body, how you have the mud baths or a treatment like that. So they're doing the same thing with the hydrogen foam, and it's just literally head to toe. And they even do masks and facials with it, with serums and everything as well. Do you think, and baths as well? I saw that they're doing baths. Mm-hmm. Is that something that we'll ever, end up doing here in Australia? Do you think we're headed in the same direction, or do you think we're quite a way off?
Look, I think if there's any way to make money, people will do it. That's what I think. For me personally, there's a couple of things that come to mind with that. First of all, hydrogen is so small, it passes through everything, right? Mm-hmm. So how is it going to stay? Like the hydrogen will be gone from that now.
Right.
Okay. Just like you'd leave
in a matter of minutes
a soda out in the air.
Right.
And then it goes flat. This is exactly the same premise. So they're saying they put hydrogen into these products.
Yes.
How's the hydrogen staying in there, and what's the potency? What's the concentration of the hydrogen?
Very good point.
The hydrogen bath, I get totally, because you're immersing yourself in it and it's still probably really concentrated and active. But look, these hydrogen drinks in cans that you open like a soft drink, and I don't know, call me a skeptic, but
no, I
don't know. I just think there's so much gimmicky stuff out there, and you just got to use your intuition.
I agree.
Once you know that hydrogen's that small, it's like air, like it's lighter than air. So how are you going to keep it in something? Just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And they were talking about the benefits of hydrogen actually lightening sunspots and skin damage in terms of their beauty therapy that they use over there. Do you know anything about that at all? Why would hydrogen lighten the sunspots? And that was fascinating to me, because I've obviously, being in Australia, I've got a lot of sunspots. So I was curious to know more.
Look, potentially I think that could happen, but they would have to have so many treatments to have that happen. The benefits would be so incremental. We're not talking about something that's bleaching your skin or whatever. We're talking about, they're probably referring to like the cell turnover, and just like fixing the thick cells and whatever like that. So yes, I haven't tried it personally, so I'm hesitant to actually say no, it doesn't work, or yes, it does. But I guess it could work, but you'd have to invest a lot of time and effort into something like that.
And I know that there's other ways to fight inflammation in the body. Can you talk a little bit about some of those the other ways to do that?
It's inflammation, I guess. You want to look, when you talk about inflammation, you've got to think about how it starts, right? How does inflammation start? Diet, right? Toxicity, environmental pollutants, medication, everything like that. Not even having the right water. Like, I'm really obsessed with my water, because I believe that water is a medium and it will go into your body and it will seek balance, right? So if you're having crap water, it is going to steal your energy once it's in your body. If you're having energized water, it's going to give you energy. Okay. So, people can drink a lot of water, especially tap water, and be chronically dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And it just passes through them. The body is not latching, and people even get bloated from water. Like if you're drinking a lot of water out of, the plastic bottles,
yes,
like how often I've done it. I've been bloated from water.
Is that because of the leaching? Is that because of the leaching of the plastics and the chemicals inside the?
It would have to do with that, but I just see that water as dead.
Right.
That water is dead water. That water has been sitting on a truck in the sun, having all the plastics leached into it, being transported. God knows how long it's been in the bottles for. Like, where's it been beforehand? And then you're putting it in your body, and it's not life force energy anymore, is it?
Yes,
it is right. Not life force energy.
Right.
And that's why sometimes you can drink a lot of water and never be satisfied from drinking it. You're still thirsty.
Yes. I know I saw in a documentary years ago, and I can't remember which one it was, but I used to have a blue bottle similar to yours, and I used to put it out in the sunlight and then just let the sun sort of energize it and then pour it over myself, the last thing I did before I got out of the shower. And for some reason, I used to say affirmations as well. And honestly, I felt so much better. It just brightened my day. It just sort of brought this level of present awareness, to myself, and a sense of gratitude. And yeah, it definitely felt better for doing it.
Yeah. Well, I have this bottle and a smaller bottle, and they go in the sun. My water is called high vibe water.
Oh, I love that.
So I get it delivered, and it's spring water, and then they structure it. So they put it through like a spin to give it structure again. So it's not just dead, because if you look at water on a stream, it's never stagnant, is it? It's going like on the rocks and this way and that way, and it's got energy in it. So this water has energy put back into it, and then they play it like classical music.
That's incredible.
And and then so I fill up my water bottles with that, and I put it in the sun, both of them, for about an hour. And then I'm really grateful for the water. So when I'm drinking the water, I'm saying thank you. Thank you for clearing my body. Thank you for giving me energy. Thank you to the sun for making this solar water. Like, it's all about having a gratitude practice, and you would be surprised. And you talk about inflammation, why do people have it? Try being grateful for a week.
Yeah.
See what that does to your inflammation.
Yeah, affirmations are brilliant too. I think they certainly make a difference, definitely. Are there any other antioxidant foods that can help in somebody's desire to improve their health?
Everyone talks about leafy greens, don't they?
Right.
And it's just because they are actually the best. Like, leafy greens are the best. I didn't know myself that you should be cooking kale. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No, why is that?
Yeah, I read, apparently it's not good for you when it's raw. It has to be steamed or cooked. So that's something new, because I always chucked kale into my smoothies and things like that. So
or I massage it with a dressing first, and then
I think that would be okay,
because you're breaking it down the fibers when you massage the dressing.
There's something about raw kale that's not good. But in terms of fruits,
yes,
apples, grapes, and berries are very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're not talking about the grapes that have been sweetened, GMO sweetened, the really like sweet nectar, what are they called? Sweet nectar grapes or whatever. We're just talking.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. You go to Woolies and Coles. Yeah, they're selling sweet grapes that basically taste like lollies.
I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. I never knew that they were
delicious,
modified. Yeah, I thought that they were that's just how they were straight off the vine.
Well, how come all of a sudden they've never been around before?
Yeah.
And now there's a whole new breed of like sweet grapes that
interesting, isn't it?
Have a special marketing and special name and everything.
Right.
Yeah, and in terms of, like, I don't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat since 1991. And yet, everyone's so concerned about my B12. Oh, where do you get your B12, blah, blah, blah. And I just had a blood test a few months ago, and my B12 was fantastic. Wow, and my iron was fantastic and everything. And that's just because I eat a lot of nuts and seeds. So I have like almond milk, homemade, chia seeds, flax seeds, and just the things that I mentioned before, like the sweet potatoes, the root vegetables. Look, I don't go white potato that much, mainly sweet potato. But I just think if you just use the jerk analogy, like just eat real food,
I agree.
so
Whole
every single
foods.
time, every time you put something in your mouth, is this going to hurt me or is this going to do my body well?
Yes,
Like,
right.
that's the bottom line.
So
And I'm not saying that I only eat healthy whole foods 100% of the time,
right.
but I'd say 80 to 90%. Yeah, I do.
Incredible. So going back to your story just for a moment, when you had massive burnout, and that's something that a lot of people have to deal with in this day and age with the corporate world, what else helped you along the way to sort of repair yourself and restore your health other than the hydrogen? Was there any other protocols that you used?
Well, quitting my job
Okay.
was a big one. Yeah, so actually getting out of the stress environment.
Right.
And look, stress comes in many forms. I mean, you might be in a relationship that is enormously stressful, and to be honest with you, your body is not healing until you remove that situation. We just need to be honest and straight up with ourselves at some point. Okay? If you're in a stressful career, you can take all the supplements you want and do everything that you want. But if there is a chronic stress environment, I mean, you're not going to negate the stress. You're going to probably control it, but it's not going to go, the damage is not going to go away. So it comes down to life decisions here.
Right.
How important is your health to you?
And did you change anything in your diet at that time?
I just stopped drinking.
Okay.
Because I was just drinking so much. And, when you're hungover, that leads to bad food choices the next day. So, then I'd eat like bad food choices or whatever. But talking of hangovers, if you take oxygen before bed, you will never have a hangover.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people would love to know that.
You take 1.5 serves before bed,
Right.
right? So I have 3 cupfuls before bed if I drink. I hardly ever drink anymore.
Right.
And I would rather not drink than drink and not have the oxygen, because I would get a terrible hangover. Right. And I have not had a hangover for years. Amazing. Because the oxygen binds to the alcohol molecule while you're sleeping. So you may need to get up and go to the toilet, but that's all the alcohol molecules being, passed through. And then when you wake up, so usually when you've got a hangover, you wake up terrible. And then as the day goes along, you feel a bit better, right? That's because you're breathing.
Right.
It's because the oxygen's getting rid of the alcohol. Right.
That's incredible.
So if you can hack it by putting a surplus of oxygen into your bloodstream prior to going to bed and not forget about that, then you will wake up and all that work's been done for you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's all been done. It's incredible. I could sell it on that alone, but I don't want to do that because there's so many health benefits,
Yeah. So if you have somebody that's sitting at home and they're stressed out, they're feeling fatigued, they've got a bit of anxiety, they're not sleeping, their diet could have some improvements and they're just zero energy, what's your best advice for them? Where would they start to make some improvements?
Okay. Look, if they're not sleeping, the first thing I would say is get off any blue light before bed, right? So these people that can't sleep, yet they're in bed scrolling with the blue light, what the blue light is saying to you is it's daytime, right? So you're tricking your brain and into thinking that there's still work to be done, there's still things to do, so your brain's active, it's switched on. Now, that's discipline there to not play with your phone, but it has to be just a decision that you have to make. Second, take a melatonin tablet.
Right.
All right. Now, there's fast-acting melatonin that you can get now. I haven't seen it in Australia, but I get some from iHerb for my son, and it works within 15 minutes.
What's the milligrams that you need to take with melatonin? We've
got a 3 milligram one. Like you can go, as an adult, I would take 5 to 10 milligrams of melatonin. Okay. Yeah. My son takes 3 milligrams. Okay. So, and that works for him. But if you don't have the short acting one, then that will take about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. So try and get the short acting one if possible. Alcohol before bed. So if you're drinking before bed, what's going to happen is you'll probably fall asleep quicker, but you're going to have a blood sugar drop in the middle of the night, and that's actually going to wake you up. Okay. And that causes insomnia, because once you wake up to either go to the toilet or just have you like bing, I'm awake in the middle of the night.
I suffer from insomnia sometimes, so I understand.
And the heart's going bang, 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 bang. Why am I awake in the middle of the night? Right?
It's so frustrating.
A lot of times that's alcohol. That's alcohol a lot.
Okay. Well, I don't drink, so it's not that for me, but I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, it's probably stress.
Yeah, it probably is. But definitely the hydrogen will help with sleep. As I said, it is the number one thing that I get from people, that their sleep has been deep and restorative.
Incredible. Is there anything else that you feel that we haven't touched on that you'd like to add that you think people would benefit from knowing?
Oh, I just have one other product, which is my oxygen spray.
Yes.
So this is just, it's just a version of the oxygen. So oxygen in its nature is antibacterial. It's an antibacterial agent. So this is fantastic for any skin issues. So rosacea, eczema, acne, like it helps with skin smoothness. So, oxygen facials are really like popular now.
Yes, they are.
Oxygen facials and oxygen products and all of that. This just goes straight into your skin. And because the oxygen's so small, it goes into the skin cell. Okay. Also with cuts, bruises, it will just go in there and just fix it really quickly.
Amazing. That's great. Well, Selina, this has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today. I feel like I've learned so much and you're very inspiring. Please let us know where everybody can find you on the website.
So the website is mysupercells.com.
Right. I won't forget that.
I forget that. And also my socials are my supercells.
Okay, brilliant.
So Instagram and Facebook, If anyone has any questions, you can always just email me. I'm so happy to talk to people. I love helping people. It's my passion. And I'm at Selina, Selina, at mysupercells.com.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate your time today. It's been incredible. All right, everybody.
It's been lovely.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you love this video, please do me a big favor and like it and share it with any of your friends. And until next time, bye for now. Thank you.